Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll be having a look at the latest GFS, GM, ECMWF, GFS ensembles, and then we'll finally have a look at the precipitation charts from the GFS, as it's looking likely we may see one last winter bite over the next week or so, where we could be seeing quite widespread frosts and the potential for even some sleet and snow showers over some hills. Do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe, as it does really help me out. So currently you can see the latest GFS run, and you can see we're under this big area of high pressure, and the air mass isn't particularly warm. You can see, especially further eastwards, it's pretty cool. Temperatures today have been around 9-10 degrees in the east, towards the coast, where a cool North Sea breeze. Further westwards and southwards, it's been a bit warmer, perhaps 15 or so degrees, a little bit warmer perhaps, in some isolated spots. Feeling quite pleasant in the sun, but as soon as that sun drops, it does get quite cold. You can see we've got a big sort of area of blocking high pressure to the north of the UK, and what this is going to do is going to remain over towards Greenland and bring in northeasterly winds once again. So if we run through this GFS run, you can see this little low pressure develops to the north of Scotland. High pressure is still over towards Greenland. It gets reinforced from another ridge at the Atlantic, and we start to pull in quite cold easterly wind. Now this will bring a few showers in, especially for northwards and eastern areas. It could give some quite useful rainfall for some of those areas, but again, it will be hit and miss convective showers. So some areas could see quite a lot of rain over a few days. Others may see very little or none at all. So no frontal rain is expected, but convection is quite likely. You can see quite a cold air mass, strong sunshine, likely to see showers under this area of low pressure. We continue with this sort of northeasterly wind. You can see the isobars aren't very tight together, so it doesn't mean it's going to be really blustery or anything. But it's still going to feel pretty chilly when the wind does pick up. With the isobars fairly spread out, it does mean temperatures will likely fall to around or maybe just above freezing, with temperatures in city centres maybe 1 or 2 degrees, in countryside maybe freezing or just below, as we are getting to the time of year where sun doesn't set until 9 p.m, sun rises around 6 a.m, so there's very little time, in fact, for the ground to radiate out to get those frosts going. But it's still likely we're going to see some quite cold temperatures overnight. And with this, you can see the 850 HPA temperatures around -5, and it gets through a lot of the country on this latest GFS run. And what that does mean is there's potential for some snow showers, potentially in the north and eastern areas. Most likely over the hills. I can't rule out anything to low-lying areas, but it's so unlikely this time of year, as everything really does have to align for that to happen. But it is generally still looking reasonably cool. Nothing bitterly cold, but temperatures suppressed in the day to only around 10-12 degrees or so. If we go back to the pressure patterns as we follow through, you can see we maintain this sort of northeasterly wind, and more northeasterly flow, more like. As you can see, quite light winds as the isobars are quite spread out. If you look at the 850 HPA temperatures, still under a reasonably cold air mass, but again, nothing too exceptionally cold. And so as we run through, you can see again another northerly blast, especially for northern areas where we see the -5 line come back through. But again, isobars are quite spread out, so it means likely winds fall light, and we could see quite cold nights. But in the day, with warm sunshine, it still feel relatively pleasant. Beyond that, high pressure does start to slip to our southwards, and the high over Greenland starts to move a bit further westwards. And what it does, it allows a sort of little area of low pressure to develop off the coast of Ireland. And what it does mean is it will start to pull in southwesterly winds for the southern half of the UK, northeasterly winds for the northern part of the UK. This collision in air masses will likely have a weather front, as you can see there, quite a big collision, and that could bring quite a lot of precipitation, perhaps quite some big chunky showers as well. Again, it's around 10-12 days away, so it's very unlikely at this stage it's going to happen exactly like this, but it's just showing you that the pattern is likely to break down. And with this sort of low pressure out to our west, which is stalled as a higher pressure out towards Greenland is stopping it moving northwards or northeastwards like it would try to do, we do pull up southerly or southwesterly winds. Again, it'll be quite cloudy, with loads of showers around, just because we're under low pressure. But quite a warm air mass the GFS is showing, and with sunshine we could be seeing quite high temperatures. In fact, even sort of heat wave temperatures. You see quite a big pulse of quite warm air wafts up for the end of May. And you do see southeastern areas getting above 10 degrees at 850 HPA, which could give widespread mid-20s if we did see that come off. Again, it's subject to cloud levels, and that's where we're way too far out to have a look at that. Beyond that, though, we maintain sort of a fairly unsettled pattern. If we have a look at the pressure patterns, you can see still a lot of high pressure out in the Atlantic. But we're under lower pressure and we're not pulling in sort of a northerly flow. But still with high pressure in the Atlantic, it's still some more favouring a northerly flow rather than a southerly or easterly flow, meaning temperatures perhaps maybe going colder after that once again. If we now have a look at the GEM run, see how that supports the GFS up to day 10. See very similar pattern over the next sort of few days with those northeasterly winds. Quite a cold air mass, and you see a little pocket of low pressure develops to the southeast, towards northern France, Belgium, Netherlands, so perhaps that could bring more enhanced rainfall into parts of the east. Again, colliding with that colder air could produce a bit of snow over towards Scotland, but again, it's quite unlikely. Beyond that, we maintain this northern blocking pattern. Again, if this were winter, we would be pretty cold, brutally cold in fact, with northeasterly winds. But being May, it's not too bad out there. But as we head towards day 10, it happens to see that high pressure over Greenland again start to reduce in size and sort of slip away to the west. What it does is bring southwesterly or westerly winds in. Now, unlike the GFS, where we do see quite warm air come up, the lower pressure is a bit further northwards, has a higher blocking pattern towards Greenland is not as strong, so it means low pressure is a bit further northwards, jet streams a bit further northwards and not shifted as far southwards. So it means more of a westerly wind, so probably more rainfall with that, with weather fronts coming in off the Atlantic, but still relatively warm. You can see some very cold airs just to our north, towards sort of Iceland and Greenland. Again, those could collide and produce quite enhanced rainfall. But again, it's one to watch quite far out, as this sort of blocking pattern does look to break down at least temporarily. But the GFS does show it, again, returning at 384 hours in the Atlantic. So it'll be interesting to see what the ensemble show at the end of the video. Now if we have a look at the ECMWF, you can see again very similar pattern to the GFS and GEM, and as we head towards day 10 you see very similar to the GFS with southwesterly winds, although we still got a block. The block is a bit more westerly based, so we do start to bring quite warm southwesterly winds. Now perhaps give temperatures widely mid to high teens. Again, with lower pressure there'll be more cloud and more convective showers and probably weather fronts as well, but it will mean temperatures will largely be quite mild, and it will cut out any overnight frosts. As we head towards day 10, you can see we are definitely on this ECMWF run, going much more low pressure dominated. Still some blocking in the Atlantic, but not really influencing the UK as much anymore. Again, with low pressure still to our north, even though it temporarily does go quite mild, perhaps we would start to bring some cooler around the back edge. But again, it's difficult to say, as it probably will not come off exactly like this. So again, all three models are showing a breakdown in this sort of high pressure blocking towards Greenland, towards day 10, but all having slightly different scenarios, with some even going quite warm indeed. So if we now have a look at the GFS ensembles, so at the temperature at 850 HPA and the precipitation, you can see why it's been quite decent over the last few days. Temperatures have been around average, but with sunshine it means temperatures at the surface have risen quite high. But you can see a big drop off to around -4, -5 degrees at 850 HPA, a bit colder, a couple of degrees colder in the north, and you can see the longer term, really no recovery in those 850 HPA temperatures, remaining well below average all the way to the end. You can see the GFS operational one was an outlier, and it does have a few ensemble members going with it, but generally we would call that an outlier. So that quite warm south westerly wind does look like quite a decent outlier on this current current set of GFS ensembles. Again, it's very unpredictable beyond day 10, so again I wouldn't take anything from around maybe 4th or 5th of May, quite literally, as again, I've seen these ensembles switch so many times, really flip. In a day or two time, it could be a lot of the ensemble members could be showing a heat wave. So again, it's very, very difficult to call in the longer term. But it definitely does look like the blocking pattern will be breaking up. As you can see, generally, precipitation is on quite a big increase as we head into early and mid-May. So although temperatures remain below average, perhaps it's suggesting more of a westerly flow, which will mean overnight frost will cut out. There'll be some rainfall from much needed gardens and areas which are quite dry at the moment. And although temperatures are below average, it will still be around maybe 14-15 degrees for the highs. But yeah, short term still looking reasonably cool, but with that colder air there are some precipitation spikes, and that's why I said there could be some snow around. If we have a look at the dew point, which just shows you the sort of air masses, you can see over the next week or so we maintain quite a cool air mass, hovering around freezing, just above or just below at points, which does mean we will likely see some overnight frosts. In the longer term, you can see generally about a degree or so above freezing, which means overnight frost will be sort of eradicated, and a few ensemble members going quite warm with the dew points. But generally, yeah, above freezing, so overnight frost do look like they're going to be cut out. If we have a look at the temperatures at 2 meters and the precipitation, you can see 2 meter temperatures generally quite cool over the next 7 days. Nothing really getting much above 14-15 degrees. Most of the highs only around 11-12, lows around 3 or 4, perhaps a little bit cool in the countryside. As we head into the longer term, you can see temperatures do start to rise towards the end, maybe 15-16 degrees, but that's more to do with the sun strength, as the air mass is remaining sort of the same. At this time of year, if you get an air mass at the end of April, if you maintain that same sort of level of air mass into mid-May will still be a few degrees warmer, just simply because of how strong the sun is. So even though in sort of mid-May, sort of 10th, 11th of May, it was showing the 850 HPA temperatures being below average, we're still seeing temperatures around 15-16 degrees for highs, just simply because of the strength of the sun. And then you can see a lot of precipitation as well, which is going to be interesting to see whether that does come off when we do finally break this quite dry spell we've been having. Finally, we have a look at the GFS precipitation types. Again, I must warn that this is just for fun, as it's quite unlikely to happen exactly like this. And again, any snow that this does show is going to be quite unlikely and very unpredictable, and will very much be sort of a day or two ahead. We'll be looking perhaps if this does come off. You can see as we head through Monday, a bit of rain in the north, and then you can start to see the wind change to northeasterly, and you see some snow over the Scottish Highlands, but generally just rain showers. But then you can see as we head towards sort of Wednesday, Thursday, a few snow showers in northern England, Scotland, parts of Wales as well, especially over higher ground, and again more snow showers, and you can see again quite a few snow showers over sort of northern areas, especially in sort of the centre of any big areas of precipitation or convective showers. And as we head towards next Sunday, you can see more snow showers pack into Scotland, quite widespread snow showers in fact. And you can see again continued snow in the north before we see a weather front move in on next Wednesday, perhaps giving more significant snow to Wales, maybe parts of West Midlands on its northern edge. Again, probably won't happen, but again, it's just for fun to have a look at what could happen as we head into May. Perhaps winter's last bite. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.